We're finally going to renovate our child care center. Needs a facelift. Our child care center is kind of like our hub for student activity for the younger students, and they do lots of arts and crafts in there. They play, they learn how to get along with each other and make friendships. And so we're looking forward to putting something together for them that they can be excited about, that you guys can be excited about, and help build community. And so we're working on some artwork. We're going to put together some artwork for you guys, but we're going to focus on two main areas. So the main room of the Kids Center, there's going to be a stage in there, okay? It's going to be a stage where kids can kind of come up and do little performances and things like that. And then the other area that we're going to focus on is our kitchen. And so we have some big plans for that area. It's going to be an open sort of floor plan with the kitchen, and we can do things like serve snack bar in the afternoon, after school, and childcare there as well. So lots of new colors, interesting things to look at for the kids. And so we're super excited about it. Very happy that Mr. G allowed us to put that on the docket this year. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We hope you support that at our Friendsgiving night. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl. Appreciate it. Yeah, and that kitchen is going to be like a little cafe for the kids. It's kind of nice, and so the remodel is going to be good. But that brings up kind of maybe a question you might have in your mind as we're looking at raising funds. It's like, what happened to the brown toy, right? Because that's been a project for 2 years now, and each fun run we've devoted the focus for the back lot playground, and there's been a lot happening back there. We're waiting now for a climber and a gaga pit to come, but the back area is really, it looks so much nicer, and it's a better place for kids to hang out and have fun. But the brown toy, we've raised so far about $83,000. We still have that $83,000. We've gone through 2 or 3 vendors, and with each vendor, we've gone through about 5 or 6 iterations of what that could look like. And no one's quite getting it. It's been very uninspiring. And so here we are, and also a lot more money than we thought. It's up near the $100,000 to do what we want to do. So we still have that money. We still earmarked for the brown toy. We think the next fun run, when it comes around in March, okay, we'll get that last third of the funds we need, and then by then we will have an iteration, an artist rendering, something that you can look at and say, oh, okay. And so sometimes you have to save for family vacations, you save for different things, and so we're saving to make that project a reality in the days ahead. But I wanted to share that with you. And a lot of the things we're raising money for, I want to mention the new water bottle refill stations. We want one downstairs. We've got one in the gym, but we need one downstairs and one upstairs for the junior high. So that's it. You know, those are like $8,000 each. Who would have thought, right? But so we want to get that. And theater, we always support that. Different things happening. So just you can follow that. But the main thing is come the dinner that night, the dessert. We thought we'd have fun with it. Friendsgiving, family coming over, and we're asking people to donate a cake, a pie, a dessert. And we'll auction it off, and then the idea is that, and then we'll have it for dessert that night. So it's a way to engage families and to bring their favorite dessert, put it up for auction, and hopefully someone at your table will buy it. That would be kind of, yeah, there's a little pressure there. Come on, you know, they can bid it up so you can enjoy that. So that's going to be a fun part of it, and it's going to be a really special night. And we're going to do things to help. The fundraising helps us fund the margin of excellence that we all come to expect. Foothill's known for doing things well, God-honoring excellence, and we're committed to that. And but we can't get there by tuition alone. So your generosity through corporate sponsorships and through the fundraising makes the difference. So those are the main announcements. But I noticed that Rima Arnook and Maher came. They're from Foothill family. We spent some time earlier talking about your practice, how you came to Foothill, how you connected us. Your daughter went here. If you go on their website, which you can link from ours to get to theirs, but if you go on their website, they have some testimonies. And their website is supposed to promote their business. But in one of the videos, they spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes talking about Foothill, and 5 minutes talking about their practice. every service, as I mentioned before, but I wanted to say it with you here. Every service you can imagine, from dental care to from orthodontia, whatever it is, they got full service, state-of-the-art facilities. We did a tour the other day, amazing. So thank you for your support, appreciate it. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned, we're going to be online with this, and then we're going to try to package this so that we can have a shelf life, put it on our website, and others can have access to it. So I'm going to start, like, ready, roll the cameras, action. Here we go. Okay. All right. Welcome, Foothill families, to a coffee with Mr. G. Today, our topic is family resources, engaging families through the resources, academic and spiritual resources that are available for you and your family, your kids, here at Foothill. And so we're going to cover a variety of topics, and the title actually is Engaging and Equipping Resources for Your Families. I wanted to preface it by saying that a few years ago, Foothill participated in a Flourishing School Culture Inventory. It was a survey of parents, alumni, students, faculty, board. It was a very comprehensive study, and it was connected to research that identified what are the most important factors of a successful school, a flourishing school. And they found out through this research, there's about 5 different constructs, really an ecosystem, if you will, of factors that contribute to that. Teaching and learning, right? That's obviously a construct. And under that, there are several subcategories. And then there's things like purpose, mission, purpose, engagement in that area. Expertise, and that gets to our resources that we make available to our kids, our SST program, those kinds of things. And so we did that survey, and we were able to compare our school results based on what the research said were the benchmarks to establish if your school was a flourishing school. And I want to say that based on that, we hit the criteria. Actually, we blew through the roof of the criteria of a flourishing school. One of the constructs was parent engagement and community involvement. So that relationship, schools by nature are relationships, right? And so teacher-student, principal, teachers, all those kinds of things contribute, have a place in helping a school flourish. And so I wanted you to get one nugget from that. In the area of community engagement, the FCS score was 98. They were like shocked that it would be so high, but we are very active in the community, right? With the library, the Chamber of Commerce, and we're very community minded. And it also includes our kids giving back to the community. So the Socktober drive that we did for Shepherd's Pantry and different things, those all kind of fit into that category. And they are elements that if these things are in place, we're saying, yeah, those are evidences that your school is flourishing. And so we blew through the roof on that one. And then family relationships, obviously the homeschool relationship, the teacher-parent relationships is critical. And so the standard deviation of these are pretty big. So 83 was really a very good score. It got blown, the 98 looks like, it should, maybe the parent engagement should be up there too, but those are very good scores. And so as part of the construct, the ecosystem, we feel that the family engagement piece is really, really important to us. We did well, but we always think we can do it better. And this year, we're trying to step up our game and really trying to help engage parents and help them to know what's going on at Foothill. And so one of the ways we can support you and be a resource to you is to go over some of the things that are available here. So we all know about the library. On the website, the hours are posted. The kids go up there each week or as needed throughout the week, but it is open before and after school at certain times. It's available to you and to the kids. And so Julie makes it special. But along those lines, we're very involved with the Glendora Public Library. I don't know if you know what a great resource, community resource, the Glendora Public Library is. One of the top head librarians there had her son at our school, so she's kind of adopted Foothill as her own. And so she will come out and speak to our kids, talk to them about the resources that are available. Even online tutoring, homework helps, all kinds of things are available there. And so they'll be coming out early November, and they'll be giving the kids some library training on how to access those resources. But I would encourage you not only to look to Foothill Library for resources, but really start investigating the Glendora Public Library and what it has to offer your kids. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Thompson to come up, and she's going to talk to you about FACS, Google Classroom, and a few academic resources that we want you to be aware of.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. G. I do want to point you to the handout that's on your tables there, and if you're online, these are going to be made available to you in the school office, and we'll also find a way to get them home to you digitally, okay? But the library hours are there, accelerated reader, where the kids can take their tests. That starts in January of first grade. So if you have a kindergartner or an early first grader, they don't start that until then. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Something about Glendora Library that I'd like to point out is their homework help. There are times where parents are requesting tutors and we don't have tutors. Glendora Library offers a great tutoring program. They are online every afternoon from like 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. that you can actually access a live person to help your child with tutoring. And then I believe on Wednesdays and Fridays, Mondays and Wednesdays, they actually have tutoring from high school students at the library. So if your child's struggling with math or reading or science or whatever, they can go and speak to a kid that's already been through that. So FACS and Google Classroom. You can check your child's grades on FACS. Teachers put those grades in regularly. We try to keep them up weekly. So if you're concerned about how your child's doing, go on FACS. You log in with the same information that you logged in to register your child for school. So there's nothing special about logging in. Click your child's name, their grades, and you can see how they're doing. So you don't have to wait for progress reports or until the end of the trimester. You can check them regularly. Google Classroom, we use predominantly 5th through 8th grade. And again, you can check what's going on in your child's classroom, but you have to get their logon information because it's designed for them to interact with their teacher. So if you want to know what's going on, just ask them to log on to Google Classroom. Something that's not on here that I wanted to bring to your attention is Khan Academy. We just recently took our MAP testing for 3rd through 8th grade, and that connects with Khan Academy. And so where students might have gaps, especially in math, then they can get on Khan Academy and work on those gaps. Or if you have a child that is working above grade level or you want to challenge them, they can get on Khan Academy and work on that. So I know Mrs. Stagel is using it now, and we just got this up and running for this year. So in fact, we're meeting in a couple weeks when you guys have November 1st off. That's when I'm going to work with the teachers on getting a lot of this set up. But if you are interested, reach out to your child's teacher. They can get you hooked up with that. It does not have to be just connected to the classroom. You can get on with their logon information, and you can work on things with them, just as a family, okay? So those are some of the resources that we have, and I hope you take advantage of them. They're great.
Thanks, Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Real quick.
Any questions?
Yeah, and there might be questions, but the Khan Academy is connected to the MAP testing. So it will personalize or customize your child's learning in Khan Academy. It will connect to MAP, say, oh, this is where your child is at, and this is how they can best be served. Maybe some remedial loops, catching up, but often it's the accelerated. So the teacher will be covering the basics, but the kids will have the opportunity to customize and personalize their learning through Khan Academy. So they kind of are running both of those throughout their math program. And readings, there's some reading help there.
Yeah, there's all sorts of subjects on Khan that you can access.
Yeah, great, great. Any questions about any of that or any academic resources at all?
Awesome.
A lot of links that for that you could find is if you go to our website under current families. We're going to look at maybe changing that to where it maybe reads a little different, so that would be a true portal to a lot of these links. But you know, the handbook is there. There's a lot of things that you can get through that current families file cabinet. So if you're looking for something that we might have posted, that might be a good tab to remember as well.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm going to invite Ms. Wilson to come up, and she's going to talk to you about some of the character development and the spiritual resources that we have to cultivate your conversations with kids about their faith journey, what we're doing here, and like I said, we want to be a resource to you. But it's you know, the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it Drink. Well, we want to make you thirsty. And there's some great resources, but if it's not being accessed, then it's just sitting there unused. Like the Glendora Public Library, so many resources, but if you don't know about it, if you don't access it, it goes unused. And so in the area of spiritual development and supporting you with resources in your home, there are some great resources. And the more you start to drink, the thirstier you're going to get, right? And so there's a lot of things we're devoting a lot of time to because we want to be that resource to you. So Ms. Wilson's going to talk to us a little about those.
Yeah, well, hi everybody. It's good to see you and online. One resource we've been sharing that I just want to bring in the forefront again is our weekly chapel chat, which is a summary basically of our chapel for the day. And I always tell parents, I think we want to be flies on the wall, right? And we want to know what's happening. We want to be engaged. But when our kid comes home and gets in our van or our Tesla or whatever that might be, we ask them, how was your day? And it's usually really short answers. With Chapel Chat, because it also incorporates not just a summary for you to kind of see what we're learning and see what scripture we're diving into, there's discussion questions that usually about 2 or 3 of them that are specific. And studies show that when you have specific questions for your child, they'll tend to answer a little bit in more detail. When you say, how was your day? It's very vague for them. But if you get to the specifics, you might get a little bit better of an answer. So Chapel Chat is just one way to do that and to dive deeper in their faith. The last 2 years, because we've been doing it now for a while, we've been kind of incorporating new things. So I just want to point those out to you just so you know that there's more on there. One thing is we just adopted a framework called Teaching for Transformation. In fact, our last Coffee with Mr. G was all about that, and I really encourage you to watch that. And some of you were in the room. Tears in your eyes about what we're launching and what we're doing here at Foothill. But one of those core practices from that framework is called Through Lines, which are just discipleship habits and practices that we're teaching the kids. And really, it's just rich language to teach our kids when they're graduating from here. They have this toolbox of language and theology and an amazing mindsets that they'll have. For example, a through line could be like community building or justice seeking. And these are the types of habits we want our students to be familiar with as they leave from here. Hey, I want to be a justice seeker. Hey, I want to build community. And what's been really fun in our chapels, and now that I'm incorporating kind of what those through lines are in our chapel chats, is kids are getting to know them so well that while we're learning this story, they start to want to guess what that through line's going to be. And then if they get it, last week it was community building, they get yes, I knew it was community building, So it's fun. They're starting to learn this rich language. And then hopefully the idea is the more we're talking about it, the more they're going to become that. And so just want you to know that the through lines are on the chapel chat, so you can see also the language we're using. I usually also have some kind of parent connection for you. I want to encourage you. Parenting is hard. And so sometimes I'll take this story and we'll talk about how that might connect to you as a parent, or maybe it's just a bit of encouragement to you for that week. So just know that we also love you. We don't just love our students. We're in this together with our families. And so there's also a resource there for you as well. Every once in a while, we'll put a little resource in there too with a link to encourage you and for you to look at more details. And then take advantage of that Spotify playlist that is in our chapel chat. I just spoke to a mom in the parking lot the other day, and she said, Mrs. Wilson, I love the Spotify playlist. I was playing the songs in the van, and my daughter said, we listen to that in chapel. And I'm like, yeah, that's so great. So they're also making those connections at home too. So that's available to you as well. Even if you don't have a Spotify account, you can have access to that playlist, which is pretty neat. One thing I wanted to point out too, and we actually have an event coming up called Parent University, which are just groups or classes, kind of like a seminar for parents. It's all for you to learn and grow. Again, we want to be a resource to you. Not only that, our Parent University nights are really just a great chance for us to come together. We want to see a unified community with a shared vision, right? And we want, if all of our parents can kind of be on the same page or trajectory to help these kids, they're going to grow a lot deeper, not only in their faith, but we've had parent universities about technology, about bullying, about anxiety when we came out of COVID. So these seminars, these classes for parents, I really encourage you to come, or if you are coming, invite another parent too. It's so cool to see grade levels of parents get to know one another. In fact, when we came out of COVID, Mr. G, that was a big ask. How do we get parents more engaged? How can they have opportunities to get together outside of school? And that's a great night for that, to build community amongst parents too. And the plus, you get to learn something too. This year we actually have Sean McDowell coming out. He's actually one of the top 100 apologetics in the nation. He actually is a professor at Biola University. He teaches about apologetics. And so the topic for this year is passing your faith to the next generation. We say here a lot, whoever wants the next generation will have them. And Sean McDowell is going to kind of help us navigate that. He'll use some scripture and real life stories to just help guide us as parents in this cultural moment. It's not easy. He's a fantastic speaker. I've heard him several times. He's really engaging. So we encourage you to come. There will be RSVPs soon. In case you need childcare for that night, there will be childcare provided, which is another plus. So, yeah, go ahead.
Ms. Wilson, if I can say, the date, November 7th, it's really close. It's not far behind our annual fund dinner, our Friendsgiving night. But that was the only night we could get him. He's in high demand, and so we're fortunate to have him, and appreciate everybody, inviting their friends and showing up for that. But it's just, you're going to get back to back. Oh, here's another night out. But if you see it in the right light, I think, and when we do those, it's kind of funny because people come in and say, "Okay, I'm here, Mr. J," and then they leave saying, "Wow, I'm so glad I came." And so I think that's the experience you would have too.
Yeah, that's good. And I wanted to point out too, on our website, actually, we have, if you go to Current Families, like Mr. G, that's a good little tab there. But under Current Families, you'll see a title just called Parent University. That doesn't just include information about our Parent University event or our night. It actually has a portal of parent resources there for you. And on the screen, you can kind of see that. We have books we recommend. A few years ago, we went through TechWise Family as parents. We have technology resources there for you, like what router to put in your home to protect your kids. We have conversation topics where there's conversation kits, especially if your child is like 5th grade and up, when they're starting to get into that tween and teen age. There's literal parent kits to help you navigate really hard topics like mental health, when to get a smartphone, so there's kits for you to kind of guide. It's information. You can even have discussion questions with your kids, and it just helps parents navigate those really tough years. And then we also have a little portal there about navigating culture. And that's the next part I kind of want to get to. There's an organization, and this is on your handout as well on the back. There's an organization called AXIS, A-X-I-S. And basically, it's a parenting resource, completely free and available to you, with tons, I'm telling you, tons of resources. In fact, I pull from these things a lot to help navigate some of our students here. And I think on the screen, there's even a few different resources available. One I really recommend as your child is in junior high or going into high school, maybe even 5th grade and up. They have this thing called the Culture Translator, and it's just a weekly email that tells you what's going on in culture right now. Here's the top song, the top artist, the top, here's the things your kids are talking about because they've probably seen it on TikTok, and it basically gives you the top things happening that week, because that's how quick our kids are picking up on things. And then it translates it for you as a parent. Well, what does that mean for you? And what does it mean biblically? And what kind of discussion questions can you ask your kids based off of this trend? So I'm subscribed to it just so that I can keep up with the culture and the teenagers even here. So that's a great resource, especially when your kid's starting to become a tween. They also have just parent guides, like I was telling you. If you're struggling with how do I do the talk with my kid, it will help guide you in a biblical way. They have podcasts. And the conversation kits are really neat too. In fact, we've used it here, Mr. G, our esports program. They were having a tough time navigating community because they were so used to playing online at home in their bedroom or their living room. Well, with esports, we brought them together in community, and they were actually a team. But they were learning to navigate, oh yeah, we're a team now, and we're working together online, but we're in person, right? And so it was really cool. It started really great conversations. Well, our teacher, Miss Heminger, saw that there was a conversation kit about video games. And so that was a series of videos and discussion questions and worksheets that the esports program went through. They learned things about community. They learned about our view of violence and how we should be careful as Christians. And so there's really, really great resources that we've even benefited here at school.
Yeah, let's pause for that for a second, because I think parents like to pride themselves on being in the know. But whatever you know, the kids have moved on.
Yeah.
And so you're always lagging. The Axis, those conversations, looks at the top 5 songs. You will be in the know. In fact, when I've used it, I didn't all of it. It's like, oh yeah, good, but one would stand out to me, and then I would use that with the kids or whatever, and they're like, whoa, how do you know that? And
builds credibility too.
It builds, little street cred, and so I think as parents, you can be a little more ahead of the game instead of lagging, and so like I said, you won't use everyone, but the few will stick because maybe you heard something from your child in the back seat with their friends, and so it's just a great tool. Again, so I just wanted to pause. I mean, you said it, but I just want to pause and put an emphasis on that.
Yeah, and it's a lot to navigate, right? Who can navigate culture well, right? We can't. And one thing, though, to keep in mind is I really do think, like you're saying, Mr. G, is every day there's thousands of voices that our culture is teaching our kids every day. And so I want to encourage you, though, your voice is the strongest voice they need. And the more and more we use and tap into these resources and get ideas or see what the Bible says, then we can kind of help our kids. In fact, a model that we encourage parents to do is just one conversation at a time, one little drip, not just a big drop at one moment, okay, we had this talk. But if you have just these little drips leading up, and I would say start young, have these little conversations. So then when the conversations get harder and more intense and culture is also being thrown at them, you've already established this routine at a young age to have these little one conversation a day, So, and I think Axis does that and tries to encourage that model also with parents. So I
think the intentionality that you're getting at there is really important. One person said, and regarding parenting and how it can be a challenge for sure, they said, the days are long, but the years are short. And boy, that really resonated with me because you get tired. What's for dinner? What's this? Packing lunches, running to and from the games and the soccer fields. And so if we aren't careful, that those days slip away into years and we miss the steady drip opportunities. But if we're a little more intentional, it doesn't take that much. And we're making the resources available to you. So check it out and say, oh, you'll see. You start filing it away, and you'll see how God will just create moments for you as you're a little more aware, a little more in tune, and a little more prepared to be intentional about it. And I know God will have those moments for you.
That's good. And then one resource, too, I wanted to point out, and we've been kind of talking about Protect Young Eyes at Back to School Night. Chris, the director from there, chimed in and wanted to encourage you as parents. And there's also these resources on that handout on the back where you see tech and culture resources. But Protect Young Eyes is another great resource I recommend for parents. There's a few QR codes on here to direct you. They help, on their website, they even have parental controls for devices, because sometimes we don't even know what do we do when we have a computer in our house. Or they have parental control step-by-step for certain apps. So if you see an app that is popular or your kid is asking about that app, look on Protect Young Eyes website, because it will show you, I didn't even know actually that there's parental controls even on the apps, and not just the devices. So they have great step-by-step guides there too as well. And then also one thing that they recommend is just certain devices you use in your home. So my husband and I actually just got the Griffin router that they recommend, and it even comes with an app that you use. And it's fantastic because you can even limit screen time, or you could shut it off. You could set the time that you want it. It can take away really inappropriate content from what kids are seeing at home. So I really recommend even using some of the suggestions they give.
That Griffon router, okay.
Yeah.
So now I think you and your husband, Chris, you can navigate technology pretty good. But I don't see you as like IT people who specialize in routers.
No way.
But you put that in your home, and so you installed it, and just emphasize, tell us a little bit, so you can then, what kind of controls, and so, and what I'm saying it, and no offense, but if she can do it, we all can do it, right? So when you switched over to that router, did you lose speed?
No.
No, everything was good.
Yeah. No.
What did you gain?
Yeah. Well. Basically, when they're tapping into the Wi-Fi of that device, so every device in the home is under that Wi-Fi, through the app, I can see exactly what everyone's doing. So not just a history bar where the kid can go in and delete it, because kids know those things. It keeps us all kind of challenged with, even my husband and I, we can see our screen time. We could see what we're looking at. My boys, we can see what they're looking at. And not only that, sometimes, what's hard as parents is when you're saying, okay, now it's time to turn this off, right? And so this controls that, where you can have a homework time. Even you can put a time, hey, this is during homework time, because we know some of our kids use Google Classroom or Savas, our math curriculum. Sometimes homework is online. Well, I can set my Griffin router, hey, this is homework time, so they're only allowed on this website at this time. So they can't be focused on anything else.
Right.
So that's one capability. So there's so many options. I'm still learning them.
Yeah.
But it's pretty simple to use, pretty simple to navigate the app itself. But it's really neat, and I recommend it. And we're prepared now, putting these things in place as our kids get older, to be able to have these conversations with them too.
Yeah,
So.
and I think being proactive in that area, from a young age on, is just so important.
Yeah.
That's
And-
trying to undo something.
Yeah, and one thing with Protect Young Eyes, just like the title of who they are, they're also trying to protect kids from predators and people out there. And even the Griffin router helps with some of those things too. When we think of things like YouTube for kids, we think it's innocent, and we think, but there's ads and there's pop-ups and there's predators, and even Roblox is a big popular gaming app that the kids talk about. But there's so many avenues and dangers that we do have to be careful with. So we really recommend you tap it into Protect Young Eyes resources that are available to you too.
And Protect Young Eyes, we are engaged with their founder. His name's Chris, and so they have a culture assessment on the digital and youth culture and the climate of the school. So just like we did the Flourishing School survey and we got benchmarks, this assessment that we're going to do, teachers will have input, students will, and we're going to ask parents to do a part of the survey. So we kind of get a sense of what is the need for our school, what are parents asking for, and then how do we move the culture needle in a direction that is more God-honoring and supportive of parents. And so it will give us kind of where we are and maybe where we want to be. And so that will be happening sometime probably after the holidays, because we're still learning about that assessment. And there's a certification that comes with it, so our school can be Protect Young Eyes certified. And it's not about the certification, it's that we have put in things in place that make a difference. And so you might hear more about that after the holidays. It's the Protect Young Eyes assessment. Is that what they call it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Anything? Okay, all right. Well, that concludes the content portion of our Coffee with Mr. G. I want to thank you for being here and thank the audience for being there. We're going to repackage this, edit it a little bit, and we'll stick it on our website so others can access it. We're going to do the same with the Teaching for Transformation. So we're going to start building our podcast or our resources for you. So again, thank you for coming. God bless, and have a great day.